Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome to another video brought to you by Total Control Traders. Let's get right into it. First up, SPX. So on the last time we looked at SPX, we were expecting a bounce around the GP, which was lining up. If you drew this over, somewhere right over here, ideally would have been GP, and we got a bounce from the GP. Now from there, we're looking at where is the bounce going to. So with the extension targets, a couple targets that we're looking at. First one being the 44.25 to the 44.32. This one is the 272 extension from this most recent move, and this one is the 1-to-1 extension target. Yeah, the 1-to-1 extension target from the move before that. So with this, we're seeing a close right on that 44.25. We got to 44.26. Close was 44.24. So close enough. We're right there right now. And after hours, right as of right now, is a little bit of bearish action, but we are seeing increased bull volume. Now, one thing to take note of is there is a slight daily bear divergence. Maybe a little bit more so than slight. Yeah, so there is a daily bear divergence forming. However, we are going to stick to bulls until we're going to stick to the rules that we've been using until the 4-hour 8, the 8-hour 8 has broken bear. We're going to remain trading with the trend. Remember, one way to make easy money is, well, not one way. Easy money is always made trading with the trend. Trading counter trend is always going to be a lot harder. You might nail the top, you might nail the bottom, but turning profit wise is going to be a lot harder. So right now, 8 hours obviously still intact. We did almost touch that 8-hour 8 over the weekend on Sunday, and 4-hour 8. So that was a 4-hour bull flag. Came back to back test the previous high. There's two zones that we were looking at. Well, there's one zone, two support resistance that we were looking at. Perfect back test, and we saw follow through making new highs. So on the 4-hour, there is no bear divergence yet, so not too worried. On the 8 hours, no bear divergence either, just on the daily. So from here, if we were to pass this 44.30 zone, we're going to be looking at the next target is the most recent move, 1-to-1 extension target, right below that 4,500 mark. 44.90 is the target. The Ethereum short-term target, we're right there right now. Next is NAS. So NAS, same idea, daily bear divergence. We saw almost near a touch of that 15.155 target based on the 1-to-2 extension target from this most recent move. So the 1-to-2 extension target almost reached, but no cause for concern yet aside from the daily bear divergence. Slight daily bear divergence. Next is Russ. So with Russell, it's going to be a little bit more interesting than the other two because the other two is currently in daily bear divergence. I am playing bull on Russell. Now if you look at this two circles, looking for a potential repeat of the last pattern. As we know, when it comes to stocks, when it comes to trading, always look for repeat of history. The potential of it is higher than what most people would think. So with this, we saw a near triple bottom. We can see lots of wicks right on this 21.13 mark support. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 supports, 4 big wicks from it. And from there, we've bounced, making 2 days of bear, making a higher low. And the higher low was formed overnight. And the reason why I decided to play bull on Russ, let's get into a little bit more details on that. So overnight, I was looking at this bearish action. But by the time I woke up, the market was green. Russ was green. It started bouncing at 2 o'clock, made a new low, no follow through. This was significant bear volume, however, unable to push it down. And then following that, we did make a new low, unable to follow through, going straight into higher highs. Then during the market, we made a higher low, and now we're looking for that follow through into new highs. So with this dip buying, first of all, new low, no follow through, and this dip buying into new higher high, I do expect higher prices to come, as we expected from SPX, NAS, the bounce from GP. We did expect new highs to come in. Now we're seeing it, market at new all-time highs. Next is Dow. Dow made new all-time high close. Did not close at the high of day. Potential rejection from that short-term. Okay, we're not touching it. Okay, what is this? Let's take a look. Nope, still haven't touched the trend line. Regardless, new all-time high close, increasing bull volume. There is very minimal, if any, bear divergence on the daily for Dow. So with that mixed signal, not too worried for the market as of right now. Now let's take a look at US dollars. We haven't done a deep dive for a week, just over a week. So with US dollars bouncing, finding support today, short-term support, currently is forming a daily bull flag. We did close under the daily 8. Weekly is looking amazing. No real concerns there. Using weekly 8 as the guide. Next is US 10 year. So we did see a breakdown over the long-term trend line. That was a must hold for the US 10 year. And this goes back to looking at the US 10 year over the 2 year. We discussed how this US 10 year over 2 year had a bounce over 270 days trading days versus the 916 trading sessions that we had before. So we were bound to see a correction, and this was a much bigger correction than I had personally anticipated. I don't really trade bonds, so it's more so using it as a guidance, but this turned out a lot more bearish than originally anticipated, which is good for the market. Okay, yeah, so no real concern yet on either side of that. Next, gold. Gold remains weak. The bounce was to 0.5. A rejection from 0.5. So the last bounce, the one we played, nailed that entry. Didn't really nail the exit, but it was somewhere around here. Did not get to the GP. And the consolidation went past the GP slightly. Ever so slightly closed under the GP. And now this bounce is potentially reversing from the 0.5. So gold to me looks a bit weak. What we will be looking for now is a reaction along this GP if we were to fade it. Potentially reaction relatively soon, actually. So we already bounced from the 0.5 lower wick here, but it's a slow bleed. So gold, either sideways action or leaning a little bit more bearish. Overall, no clear direction in the market, no clear bear direction in the market, meaning should remain bullish. Okay, and next, the big one today. Congrats, Bitcoin bulls. For those of you, especially for those of you that sold, look at this perfect rejection. Congrats, Bitcoin bulls. Congrats, crypto. So we had this resistance marked. The break of this trend line that we saw a rejection from 1, 2, 3, 4 times was the clear go signal, and we saw follow through today. Bulls wanted to see a close over this long-term white trend line where we saw rejection, which became support and support. So we wanted to see a close over this trend line, but bulls were unable to close over it, leading me to think that we are going to see a higher low, if not an inside bar from here. So if we're going to see a higher low, where would make sense? Even GP would make sense. You can see a lot of action around this top part of the key zone. So if you're in Bitcoin bull and you have not sold, I say either use the daily 8 as your guide, or personally, I would even sell right here. We are still a little bit extended from the daily 8, especially this big upper wick. It gives bulls not the confidence that I'd be looking for. Next is HIVE. Since we're discussing crypto, might as well take a look at HIVE. Been a long time since we took a look at HIVE. So there's key zones all around here. Let's see, where's get mark? I like it here. Yeah, so it's still stuck in between these two zones, even with Bitcoin crazy bull action. Okay, it looks like I'm gonna have to redraw that. Yeah, even with Bitcoin's crazy bull action, we still need to break over this zone in order to get bull confirmation. As of right now, what is looking like to me now is more so a descending wedge. Yeah, it's more so a descending wedge and key zone lining up with the upper trend line. This should prove to be strong resistance. Even if Bitcoin, crypto, HIVE were to make blockchain were to make continuation, we should see some sort of reaction tomorrow going to Wednesday right at this upper end zone. Okay, next is requested tickers from Kwanzaa, and that would be NEO. So I'm seeing a descending channel. There is a bear break here. Came back up to backtest, rejection, slight rejection. We are holding up really well on NEO right now. Bear with me. Just trying to draw all the zones possible. Okay, something like that. The 3 zones to watch out for. Obviously, there being another one up here. You know, if you want to draw it out, it's going to take some time to get there anyways. So that's why I haven't bothered with it. But in order to make new all-time highs, NEO would have to break this upper end zone between 2093 to 2168. And as of right now, we are right at the upper part of the key zone with the upper part of a channel. So strong resistance, but low bear volume, providing bulls confidence. There is a decent chance that this could break bull. A very decent chance that this could break bull. Right now we are forming a daily bull flag and the chart looks great. If you are in a position, daily 8 should be your guide. You do not want to lose this support. I'm not seeing a clear level, but it would be somewhere here. You do not want to lose 1660. If 1660 is lost, we will be going down. We should be going down to $16 even. And then if that is lost, we'll be looking back down at this key zone. Potentially, what could be happening on the bearish perspective is we could be looking at something like this, double bottom before bouncing back up. So that's the bearish perspective. The bullish perspective is from here we go sideways into a bull flag before confirmation into the resistance, which would be right about here. Potentially here. So a couple scenarios on NEO. Keep in mind, if you are not in the position yet, either wait for the confirmation. So give it a couple more days, see how this bull flag plays out. If we were to keep it within this key zone, that would be very bullish. Higher potential of breaking bull. So you could look for an entry on the break of this upper trend line. Alternatively, if the market NEO were to go down, look for an entry around $16. Ideally, most ideal entry would be 15. All right, next is a few tickers I wanted to cover. First one, CCL. Bullish engulfing candle. Amazing recovery so far. So on CCL, we got an entry down here, took some profits up here, and I think we rolled out the calls to August, and today has been amazing. Volume was a little bit lacking. There is no significant volume today, but from here I am looking at long-term channel, low risk entry from down here, and potentially looking for a reaction around 25. Once that is broken, if that is broken bull, we'll be looking at up at the upper trend line. So lots of room to move upwards. If this part $25 is rejected, we'll be looking at another touch on the lower trend line, potentially back to the key zone. If that is the case, we'll be adding to the position. Next is BA. So remember BA, for those of you that didn't see the video, with BA, yeah, I'm going to leave the best to last, Tesla. With BA, it likes to give breakdown fake outs before the next leg move up. So if you look at this one, the first one, for example, the original triangle that we were tracking was over here, but it did a breakdown fake out before an actual move up. Same with here, the original triangle we were tracking, where was it? Okay, this one is not as clear. Little bit of a breakdown if you zoom in. Little bit of a breakdown before next leg move up. And third, the triangle that we were originally tracking was right here, where you can see multiple supports. It had a breakdown fake out before an actual move up. So same idea as right now. Potential breakdown fake out. This is a little bit more than the previous ones, the breakdown. But we did get to that must hold trend line zone. Trend line zone, yeah. The trend line zone, and we saw crazy bull action following that. So with this, we did take some profit. Same idea with CCL 3 days ago. And now we are rolling it out into August. We are back into the channel. Volume, not significant. Earnings is coming up on Wednesday. So keep an eye on BA. Next is ABNB. I'm really loving there's a couple setups that I really love, and there's Airbnb as well as Dkng. Airbnb, their setup are very similar, which you will see in a second. Airbnb, we are in this long-term wedge. I don't know if you can call it a wedge because we stalled up here, but 1, 2, 3, almost 4, depending on how you draw it. So if you use this inner trend line, would be a lot more rejections. And then lower trend line now has 3 touches. Airbnb near that apex of the wedge would be looking for a breakout. 0.382 is right above the upper trend line, so we could see a stall around there, which we have seen multiple rejections from that price area. 152, that must break for bullish action. Once that is broken, we'll be looking to add to the bull position. GP is right at the lower end of the key zone, the previous supports. 1, 2, 3 supports, somewhat of a support here, and a resistance back here at the IPO. So 160 is a key price to watch for reaction once that 150 breaks. Next is Dkng. Very similar chart, but looking a little bit more bullish. Yeah, looking a little bit more bullish. Really love what the chart is doing. Long-term wedge as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rejections from upper trend line now. And lower trend line is not as clear. This is a long-term trend line. Ideally must hold. So we did see a breakdown under, immediately bought up into the upper trend line rejection again. Same idea with right now. Breakdown under, immediately bought up, or a gap down under, immediately bought up. And now we're seeing a double rejection from that trend line, but it is forming a daily bull flag. And indecisions, couple days, no volume. Give it, I would say probably 1, 2 at the most till the end of the week. 1, 2, 3, 4. I am hoping maybe that is going to form a higher low somewhere around the 0.382 before the break. That would be actually most ideal, just because then it should provide bulls with more momentum after the break instead of immediate rejection kind of thing. So part of the reason, the other reason why Dkng looks a lot more bullish to me is, aside from the chart, the price action, also there is this I don't know the term, what, Gartley pattern that's formed here, XABCD pattern. And everything seems to line up, especially how D right here after the 0.86 bounce, we are seeing follow through. So on the break of this trend line, depending on whether we form a higher low or immediate break, I potentially will be looking at adding to the position. But first, I want to see over the next couple days whether we're going to form a higher low and where that higher low would come in. So we're not as near apex comparing to ABNB, but the chart does look very bullish. Next is JD. So bearish action today on JD, but there are a couple long-term trend lines to watch out for. One was a resistance trend line, which we broke bull and saw crazy follow through of 120%. and then there's a lower trend line as well. So we're right near that upper trend line right now, which is right above the GP lining up with the key zone. I love confluences. For those of you that have seen a lot of my videos, you know confluences are perfect entry, perfect exits most of the time. So with that being said, things don't exactly line up here. So there's a potential of dipping down below this trend line before a buy up. Today's volume was fairly decent. Keep this on watch. I would watch for a reaction at that GP right around $61, previous support, key zone, bottom of key zone. Next is Logitech. So nothing too exciting happening on Logitech yet. Watching for this GP right here, lining up with the long-term trend line. Last time, was this a GP bounce? Doesn't look like it. Seems like it lost GP slightly. Okay, so it did lose GP slightly, touched the trend line before the bounce up, but these two were perfect. GP lining up with trend line before a bounce up. GP lining up with trend line before a bounce up. And now we are looking at potential for that. And if that is the case, then we'll be looking around August 18th, meaning it's going to be about 3 weeks time. Give it another 3 weeks, but it should be one of your top watches. Next is coin. So remember how we talked about how coin looked a little bit different this time? You know, the consolidation was decreasing bear volume and seeing a support, a slight bounce from that key zone. Yeah, it was different. Even though it might be, well, majority might be caused by Bitcoin bounce, but it was different. Regardless, you know, we saw decreasing bear volume, should have took an entry. One of the missed trades, it's okay. Plenty more trades to come. So saw a huge gap up today, gap and run. But towards the end of the day, as Bitcoin sold off, we saw some profit taking as well, which just so happens to be near that bottom of the key zone. So keep coin on watch. Now, bulls do not want to lose 238.25. Next is PLTR. So it's not one of the tickers that's on my personal top watch, but I know a lot of people are watching PLTR. Wow, imagine if you played this wedge break. So with PLTR, we did see a bounce from GP of this whole last move. We did see a bounce from there, but the bounce was very minimal. Got over the GP, immediately sold off, and today we saw a little bit of bullish action. Chart doesn't really look too interesting to me. However, right now is somewhat of a low risk play. Stop being right here, which is, oh, after hours is down. After hours is 21.76, which is right about the open. So stop would be about 5% away versus the upside of this is about 25%. So that's about 5-to-1 risk to reward. I say that's worth it. Personally, the reason why I'm not looking at it too much is PLTR. I'm anticipating a sideways action for a little bit here before an actual clear movement. Because when I look at this, you know, we tried playing this volume spike here. Ended up nothing came out of it. And instead it just bear broke instead. So with this name, I'm being a little bit more cautious than other names. I want to give it a more candlesticks before jumping in. All right, next. So with this week is the big tech earnings. Keep your eyes on big techs. Let's take a look here. So this week's earnings, today was Tesla, Logitech. How did Logitech do? Forgot to take a look at it. Flat. Didn't really move. Tomorrow opening will be UPS, 3M, And then tomorrow after close is the big one, Apple, AMD, Microsoft, Google, the 4 big ones, Visa as well. And then Teladoc for those of you that were watching, Starbucks as well. And then the day after, Wednesday after close, is Facebook. Anyways, you get the picture. Picture is right here in case you want to take a snapshot. So yeah, this week is the big tech earnings. Keep an eye on all the big names. So Logitech is actually very interesting, slight increasing bear volume, but price action did not go anywhere. Let's take a look at Apple. Huge daily bear divergence potential forming. So going into tomorrow, there is a chance, because the earnings after hours, there's a chance that what I would anticipate is based on this chart, not knowing what the earnings look like, not looking at their fundamentals, not looking at their financial reports or anything. Based on the chart, I would anticipate a higher high forming a huge daily bear divergence. Then from there, selling after earnings, which would line up with the last 2 earnings. If you look at it, last 2 earnings, this marked the top before a big drop. This marked the top before even bigger drop. So tomorrow, keep an eye on Apple. If you like playing bears, there is potential in Apple for bearish play tomorrow. Amazon earnings is on, is that Thursday? 29th. Earnings on Thursday. So similar idea. If we were to make a new all-time high on Amazon, would potentially be looking at a bear divergence. Still some room to play, but earnings on Thursday, so give it a couple more days and we should have a clearer picture. Based on this, I am anticipating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So far the B is a whole lot stronger than what the normal B does. So this could negate the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Fibonacci pattern. Anyways, and then from there, the target remains, because we never reached it last time, we'll be looking at just under 3,800. 37.95 is the 1-to-1 extension target from that last move right here. This move. So there's lower low, higher high, higher low. Okay, next is Microsoft, I believe is new highs. Bearish divergence, completely negated. Ever so slightly daily bear divergence right now. Tomorrow should determine the direction for Microsoft. I do believe that a higher low is still needed. I do still believe a higher low is needed. And because the price is higher now, potentially looking at over there for an entry. Next one is NVDA. Gonna start potentially moving NVIDIA AMD to top watch. Just wanna, okay. So NVIDIA AMD, I do believe that it should be higher prices to come on the chips, the semiconductors. So alternatively, what you could be looking to play, you could look into playing is SOXL, which is a direction semiconductor 3 times bull. It is leverage, so try not to play options on it. 3 times leverage on this. Ooh, the chart actually looks amazing. Daily bull flag right now, SOXL. Watch out for semiconductors, NVDA. Just want to see when the earnings is. Not for some time, 3 weeks. AMD. Watch for AMD earnings tomorrow. That should give a clear direction on where the semis are going. So I'm gonna make a note of that for myself. And last but not least, actually let's sneak one more in there. Disney. Nice bullish action today to closing near that high of day. 4 cents off. Amazing close. Increasing bull volume. So this was a breakout fake out. Probably need to redraw this trend line now. Let's see. So this wedge could last a lot longer than originally anticipated with this breakout fake out. A new wedge looks like this. Don't care about that. Don't care about this. GP, the current Ethereum, short-term Ethereum GP lines up with the top of the key zone right at the resistance 181. With the close today, increasing bull volume, would anticipate a move up towards that zone before some sort of reaction, whether it's bullish, bearish, or sideways action. So keep Disney on watch. Not top of the list, but there's potential here. Looks like it's a legger play to the majority of the big techs. Like last but not least, the best for last. Tesla. Earnings today after hours, and we saw slight bullish action. Let's take a look at the extended hours. Okay, so we saw a huge gap up and run, sell off, taking profits, and did not lose that 15-minute 8. Continued to run, and now we just lost it just now. So Tesla earning was a beat. Huge beat by 54%. However, there was a loss on their Bitcoin bet. I believe investors may be taking it a little bit more bearish than what I think should be. Meaning tomorrow, essentially, if we did break over this trend line, let's see where it gaps up tomorrow. Let's say, or gap down. Let's say that we do gap up. Scenario number 1. Let's say we do gap up. Would anticipate an immediate selling, and potentially looking for an entry at the touch of this upper trend line. Currently in commons for Tesla. So if let's say we see a gap down scenario, I would want to see a hold of 640. If we do touch the 640 again, based on the earning beat, this kind of beat, I would be going into call options. All right, so that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you know anyone that could potentially benefit from the videos that we provide, make sure to share our channel. Thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I will see you in the next video.